Green Course is an amazing, amazing organization, and I'm so proud to be part of it. I got the job to be a community organizer, which is actually volunteering. And what we do is there are 16 different chapters around Israel, and each chapter deals with different environmental causes. So the cause that I chose to deal with was plastic because it's huge. We have to deal with it. So at the IDC, there's also a chapter that deals with plastic, and we work together.
IDC being a university for
university
in Herzliya.
In Herzliya, yes, where I'm originally from, and we work together. What we want to do is change policy in Israel and actually make single-use plastic illegal, which is something that many, many countries are doing, and Israel is way behind.
Right. It is interesting because on one hand, living here for many years, you have these big, huge cages around Israel where people put plastic bottles, and they are full. But then, just in my own experience, the beaches and whatnot, you're seeing a lot of plastic wastage. Is it really a informational issue that maybe, here in Israel, people are just not making it a priority?
I think that we do such a good job at trash removal here that when people throw away their trash and it's away, they think, okay, I throw away my trash and it's away. Why is it a problem if plastic's in the ocean? I don't see any plastic in the ocean. I mean, for the most part, the public beaches in Israel are very clean, and so people don't see that there's a big problem with plastic entering the ocean because we do trash removal well, even though a lot of our trash has been shipped out for years, and now the plastic recycling plant in Israel is closed.
And this is recent news. So what was the reason behind the closing of the plastic recycling plant?
I do want to say something about the removal. Israel has the most amount of trash on the beaches in the world, and myself, as someone who goes to the beach a lot, I do see a lot of plastic around me, and it's something that bothers. Like a plastic bag gets stuck on my leg, and I think it's a jellyfish, and I freak out. And
I end up throwing people's plastic away.
Exactly. My friends and I, we did a beach cleanup just for cigarette butts because people don't know that cigarette butts have plastic in them. It's a huge problem. People throw it on the ground. Yes, and yes, of course. And we did 45-minute cleanup here in Tel Aviv. 45 minutes. We picked up 5,000 cigarette butts.
Wow.
10 people in 45 minutes. It was insane. It's a problem. It's like inside the sand. People don't think about it, and that's the thing. Those things are very important to do because people sitting on the beach started asking us, "What are you doing? You weird people. Why are you picking up our cigarette butts?" And these people put cigarettes next to them. And then they said, I'm sorry, and they started helping us pick it up. Doing things, physically doing things, that's why I believe in activism, and that's why I'm an activist.
Right.
You have to get out in the field and show people that you need to make a difference, that we have to be the ones to do it. And like we said,
walk the walk instead of talk the talk.
Exactly.
Like leading by example, 100%. Right?
Exactly.
100%.
And we're talking about the plant. So that's, I believe in activism, that the personal person needs to be an activist to show the decision makers that there are people that care about this, and then it's really important because now we have elections. There's no one talking about green issues. No one is talking about the environment, and it's ridiculous. And this plant, the recycling plant, the only recycling plant that recycled bottles in Israel, shut down, and now we have to take everything overseas, which is horrible for the environment. And it just shows how much the government in Israel is not doing to help green movements.
Wow. What are some tips that you offer, when you're going into people's homes? Is it besides this bottle, that bottle, this shampoo, that shampoo, like how are you creating kind of tips?
So one of the largest problems that individuals have is fashion and clothing, and fast fashion is a huge problem, and people are like, well, it's so cheap, I could buy however many I want, and if I don't have time to wait in line at the try-on spots, then no problem, I'll just take it home, and if I never get a chance to return it, who cares, because it was so cheap. And then we have closets full of clothes that really we never wear. And so it's all about being conscientious when you're shopping. Not using shopping as a pastime, really. That's a huge thing. We use shopping as a way to comfort ourselves. And when we can go shopping with intention and purpose, both for clothing and for other things that we need, especially in the supermarket, we reduce our waste significantly. And we send a message to manufacturers that this is not what we want.
Right.
And we vote with our wallets, basically.
No, also we talk about, in particular, I mean, families and, in the ultra-religious, we've had guests on talking about this. Listen, single-use plastic is a big deal. You have Shabbat and people, plastic forks and plastic cups and all of this. I imagine this is a big component as well for you.
Yes, it's huge. I do want to say that I don't only blame the religious community.
No,
it's something that
no blame, no judgment.
You know, yeah, it's something that it's really easy. People throw it out. People, but don't know. They don't know the health effects.
Right.
When you put hot food on a single-use plastic plate, you eat the chemicals.
That's true.
We're feeding our kids chemicals. When you heat up a plastic bottle to feed to your baby, you're feeding them chemicals. People don't talk about this. And let's also talk about the money factor. It costs more money to buy single-use. People use they buy every week. There's families that don't have plates at home. And you're also wasting money. I mean, just do the dishes. I grew up doing the dishes.
Me too.
Yeah, my parents said, do the dishes. Why don't kids do the dishes anymore? Like, we need to...
Well, getting to kids, there's also the toy component, which is a big deal. I have these little kids, you know, and they get sick of toys. And for me, I'm really diligent about, recycling in the big blue bins and paying it forward. But plastic toys are making up a lot of waste when they could be given to people, other people that need it. Do you find that to be an issue?
I think that with toys, it's a little different. A lot of the plastic toys can't be recycled because they're already been downcycled one time. So they're not the right kind of plastics. They're not the same plastics as plastic bottles, so they can't just go in the recycling bin. But with toys, I find, and studies have shown that when kids have less toys, actually, they use their imagination more. So we're not doing our kids a disservice by having fewer toys in our house. And it makes our life easier because it's easier to tidy up and clean our house.
Easier to keep things dust-free.
Exactly.
I imagine that's a big part of your clientele are families.
Yeah, that's huge. Almost all of my clientele are families, and toys are a big problem. And I find that the attachment with the toys is mostly with the parents and not really with the kids. Actually, the kids are like, yeah, we can let that go. But the parents are like, no, that's such a good toy.
Well, it was like such a big deal when you wanted it, and now you're over it.
And it was so expensive, and it's huge.